Orb on the movements of the earth, episode 11.
どうも。
Yo.
君らの実習を担当
Yeah, things have gotten a little bit too nice and good and easy and truth-seeking there for a minute.
よろしくお願いします。
And now we're all revved up to kill the heretics. I mean, help the heretics. Save them.
社会にとって必要な仕事だけど、異端と接したり、拷問したりするのは気持ちいいもんじゃない。
Yeah, a little bit off-putting. You'll learn to love it though, as I have.
安心してよ。やっていくうちになるから。
So it is exactly that,
君
yeah.
らが気にすべきこと。
And you'll learn to
この
love
仕
it.
事で最も覚悟してほしいことは
The screams.
これだ。
The screaming. What's that?
これは一人の異端者を審問する際に
Paperwork,
必
the worst
要
of all.
な
Yeah.
書類の厚さ。
Right.
つまりこの仕事、非常にめんどい。
Yeah, that's the hard part. It's the filing, the bureaucracy. This is like the opposite message from what they just got. It's two different sides of it. And actually very interesting and amazing.
だからそういう案件があったら、意識的に手を挙げれば点数を稼げる。
This is not what they've been thinking about.
人数の実績は見栄えがいいからさ。
It's great advice for navigating.
天文学をやってたらしいんだよね。なのに今は異常に毛嫌いしてる。こういう場合、昔何か嫌なことがあったんだ
Oh, maybe he
と
just
思うよ。
wasn't cut out for it.
もう質問ない？
About a million.
じゃあ続きは異端審問所で実習。
Let's get to the fun stuff, the torture.
ただでさえ君ら審問官の維持に金がかかるのに新人
So
採
there's
用したのか
strife
よ。
even from within.
まあ、信徒がそんな金言っても。
これだから無知は
He's playing this like harmless sheep thing really well.
金の重みをもう少し理解し
Right.
ろ。
It's not about heresy
お
and
前
astronomy. It's about
司教様に
money.
気に入られてるか知らんが審問官風情は身をわきまえろよ。
Well, I don't know about all that. Surprised I didn't do that for like the 8th time in this conversation. This whole thing that continues from the last episode is really cool. I like how they came out of this meeting where they're all revved up to do the right thing, what they feel is the right thing, in service to humanity via the church, via saving heretics, etc. And then coming face to face with Novak, who's giving them the reality of how to succeed in this world, how to move up the ranks. The church and Novak and their fight against heretics are one component in the struggle that makes up this idea about how good things, in this case, the search for the truth, can become calcified to the point of corruption and non-truth. And then we have an example of that very same model within the organization that is a part of that model. The kids are all bright-eyed and thinking they're going to do some good in the world, and Novak's not about that. He just wants to have an easy job and go on about his daily existence. I've spoken about this a lot already, but one idea that's become very interesting to me over the last year or so is the idea of great things attract parasites who then host the thing and eat it from the inside out, to the point where it's just a dead husk and it's not a good thing anymore. But it may still be a very powerful thing because we're still treating it as the great thing it once was. We still have that sort of reverence for it and respect for it and adhere to it, even though it's been parasitized. We haven't like realized what's happened yet. And the parasites will wear the mask of the thing that we were initially treating with reverence. So it'll be for goodness or for the people or for truth or for love or whatever. Encountering Novak in this capacity is sort of like encountering it very directly from the inside. Sort of like, let's be real here. Welcome to the Parasite Club. We can eat out of this husk for years. And then this dude comes along. For a second, I thought he's going to be on that original pure side of things, but no, he just doesn't want them to affect his bottom line. We're eating this husk too fast. These kids are so demoralized.
ちゃんとした役職知らないけど、まあ分かりやすく言うと、
Oh,
司教様
say no more.
息子
Got it.
息子、独身性は。
もちろん
Well, I mean, yeah, yes. And also no. Oh no, the demoralization continues.
気を取り直して審問所で実習だ。
Do as I say, not as I do. You know, I am the law. You can't do it because you're a stupid heathen. I, on the other hand, with this deep personal connection to God, can do whatever the hell I want. And now you shut up. You shut up. There are two kinds of people in this world. Those chosen by God who can do whatever they want, and the unwashed masses who must do as we tell them. Too stupid to think for themselves, so they must be tricked. Because all hell would break loose if they were allowed to do what we do. Episode 11, Terror. Yeah.
そうだ。
Yeah, we're overdue,
司
man.
令室へ入る前に聞きたい。君ら異端と話したことある？
This feels like a trick question. Wrong. You don't realize how many heretics there are.
奴らは嘘がうまい。
Yeah.
騙されない。
You've already talked to many of them. You may be heretics yourselves. That remains to be seen. I will be watching.
女性。
Oh. Women can be heretics too.
彼女は昨日捕まったばかりでね。黒
Maybe
ミサのことな
some
んて
light
何も知らない。
foreshadowing for his own daughter.
まず今日君らにやってもらうのは基礎中の基礎。
I think he's worse than I thought. Like, he's just an absolute psychopath to the point where he doesn't even realize the extent of how horrifying this would be to a normal person. He's like, oh yeah, it's just normal, like, first day of work jitters. You'll get over it. But it isn't. This is not just first day of work jitters. You are going to torture this woman's thumb and presumably fingernails, because what's the point of torture if you're not hurting their fingernails? That's the best part. Sure, you kids don't enjoy this now, but wait until you discover the joys of fingernail collecting. The rest will just take care of itself. It continues to be great that the kids came out of this meeting thinking they were doing a service to humanity, and what is their first assignment? Shadowing Novak as he tortures this poor woman. But now they're caught, right? They're caught because there is momentum to these things. There's emotional momentum, and they've made a decision, and it's hard to undo this decision because of all the walls and barriers they can feel there. I mean, that they've built, and that aren't real. Well, in their case, it might actually be real because of, like, the law and their promises and stuff. I don't really know. But in terms of just emotional momentum, a lot of times, like, it's just the having decided something that is the fuel for not being able to revisit turning back. You told your family you were going to do this thing, and you were really proud of this thing. You were really excited about this thing or this person. You told yourself it or she was great. You formed some identity around it. You're imagining your entire future in it with them. And then, like, when the red flags start hitting you in the face, you just start dodging because you're all in on this thing now. I want this thing. I sort of need it. It's a cornerstone of the way I think as of recently.
起きてください。
He seems happy to have the audience too. Heretics always lie. That's exactly what a heretic would say.
親指にはめて。
You would deny it, wouldn't you, you liar? Being the heretic liar that you are, had no other choice but to give you the basics.
何か言う気になりましたか？
You can leave, kid.
早く。
You're not a heretic, are you, kid? Somebody made this thing, and then somebody used this thing.
これ以上は
やるんだ。それが指示書に書かれている決まりだよ。
This is the work. When you realize what the job actually is. Remember, this is all for God.
左手が残ってる。
We know how this works, right? You do this long enough and they confess to something that never happened.
誰かから聞いたんだ。
Because I hate God and I'm a sinful heretic.
本当に何も知らないんじゃ。
やって。
I like how we didn't answer that question. Because I said so. You know, it's so weird. It's so conflicting because it's really easy to judge, but I don't think it's easy. Even though it's really obvious as a viewer that this is terrible and that they shouldn't listen to Novak. That is not an easy situation to be in. I think it takes a lot of strength to resist. I mean, I would wager a guess to say, well, almost everyone would say they would. Most people actually would not. Given that there's a sufficient build up to this, you know, like they applied and they were accepted and they felt proud and they told their family they were doing it and they have the narrative that they're serving God and this is the highest calling a person could have and they're lucky to be in this situation and they respect the authority of this church. And they went through this whole initiation process where they just got all riled up and it further confirmed their feelings of glory and greatness and pride. And then they end up in this room with Novak, who's their superior, and told that this woman is a heretic. I don't know, that's a lot of walls. It's hard to turn back. And throw in the fact that up to this point, we may have had no real reason to go into things in nuance and we have to treat most things as shortcuts anyway. And one of the most foundational shortcuts we take is this thing in authority is right. And that's how it became an authority. And so like every aspect of this authority, the way things are is the right order of things. That's the society we live in that we have to protect. And that's what we have pride in, and that's what gives us identity. And this person is like one of the figures of this thing. And the thing is good. I know the thing is good. The thing's always been good. I was brought up in this thing. And it's the foundation of my whole life and everything I value and a cornerstone of my identity. Well, like how could someone who is so esteemed in this thing that's so good leave me in the charge of somebody who's terrible? That doesn't make sense. That would like undermine the whole thing. And that just can't be true because that would mean so many things are a lie. And I'm terrible and I am stupid and I like didn't see this beforehand and I'm incapable of thinking. And what else do I not know? One of the really cool things about the show is that we can easily point to them and be like, look how stupid they were doing all this stuff. For a theory of the universe we all know is so stupid and basic. What a bunch of evil idiots. But then psychologically, all of this still applies. It's just like changed face. There's nothing really that different fundamentally about human factioning and commitment to untruths and abuse of authority and parasitizing good things. Originally beautiful endeavors getting corrupted for insidious means. And what is really cool and perhaps a meta way about it is like, it's that very judgment, it's that very thing that likely is the underpinning of that very same issue. Those are the very tools by which this sort of thing that is so clearly wrong in this context plays out again and again in ways that are less obvious because they are our current milieu. Not to say that this captures the total reality of it, because obviously it's complicated, but at the very least as a thought experiment, anytime there's something that seems really obviously true to us, an answer to some long-running societal problem, like everyone knows that this is the answer and everyone who opposes that is evil or has malicious aims, then extremely high chance the person who doesn't fully understand the problem or the person who actually doesn't know is you. Because if it persists persists this long over and over again for a long period of time, it means there's probably some fundamental spectrum conflict where there's a balance to be sought. And there actually is no perfect answer right now in this current stage of society or technology or whatever. There are multiple elements trying to keep each other in check and at bay, and so there is no perfect answer. And the perfect answer is a factional one. It's not actually a truthful one. And because the faction can't solve the problem, what they have to do to keep people on their side is image crafting of we are on the side of the good and they are on the side of the bad through hyperbole and straw manning and false attribution of goals, etc. Wow, defiance. So you're one of them then. Got it. He might make the other one. Oh no. Right, it's gonna split into this. Lines will be drawn. Yeah, whatever. I mean. I think this is unreliable testimony, but that's just me, maybe. For chickening out? Why apologize for the greatest amount of humanity exhibited in that room? Right, think of the paperwork, man. Very astute observation. Interesting. Well, he's the enforcer of that very prison. This is terrifying. It's legitimately terrifying. Truth? Terror. It could have been truth, you know? Or that speaks to like what is so scary about this for me, which is just how easily this can get corrupted and how I imagine so little of evil is done under the banner of what people think is evil. It's going to be under the banner of something else that's great. You know, it's going to be for society or for people or for some innocent party or what have you. Something that gets people sufficiently emotional to get that momentum going so that before they know it, they're like plowing over innocent things, but it's just too much work. It's too much energy. It's too scary to turn back. I think that's how a lot of these things happen, where you look back and you're like, how could a society have done this? You know, how could this group of people have done that? Well, it didn't happen all at once. It probably started with something a lot more human, a lot more sympathetic, and it just picked up speed to a point where people started to make concessions because they were very emotionally fervent for this thing. And then again, those red flags started popping up, but we've already decided sort of that this is for the good. We already know this is for the good. Everyone knows this is for the good. This is what we stand for, and this is what we are, and this is what's important. And so yeah, in that case, he is right. He says terror, but like I would argue it's emotion. Terror is a particularly strong one, but I think love and truth can be co-opted and parasitized for that aim as well. It's so scary and chilling to hear the actual devil talking about fighting this presumed devil in order to get people to carry out the devil's work. Oh, I just listened to it again, and it's also chi. So I guess there's a pun happening there of truth and fear, and it's the same thing. That's interesting. Speaking of that corruption, there's also a very, very obtuse reading of this, which is that it actually is the same thing, and it's all part of some beautiful harmonic process in the vein of there's no wrong answer. As unpalatable as that would be in this particular instance, there's something to that very zoomed out. Just like not really on a livable, palatable level. I thought I clocked out for the day. The mistake Novak makes is being good at his job. That's a double-edged sword. You can't be too good at it. Then you become on call all the time and needed all the time. This damn universe and cosmos. It's okay, you torture the next one. He's a true hero. Truly a man of God. I don't think so. I think he's like that. I think this is just Novak. I think that's why he's so good at it and why he's so coveted by the bishop. And why he gets away with stuff. If you're good enough at your job, you can get away with anything. You should begin heading anywhere that's not here, and you need to run. Good. Good instincts, or just very lucky. Oh no, I've grown so attached to them. I don't want anything bad to happen. Get out! Oh wait, but it's Novak's daughter. Maybe that's supposed to be a mystery or a shocking revelation. I've never once had the experience of beer that is portrayed in anime. Like that Misato feeling. Never. Actually, I think we've solved it. This is a celebration and also a funeral. He already told Oxy that, no? That's pretty good, considering his standards. You're harboring something that could change the world. This is the last moment of this society. You think, until Novak arrives. This is the pivot point. We have changed the universe, is their usual way of putting it.
我々は動いている。
That is really cool, though. Just that shift in perception. We are hurtling through space, whereas we thought we were sedentary until now.
その事実もそれを知ってるのが
That was a really
私た
cool
ちだ
moment,
けというの
yeah.
も
Though I don't think that really feels good in the moment. I think that's the kind of thing that sounds glamorous, but then if you were to actually experience it, it would be incredibly terrifying and lonely. Just imagining the hill you'd have to climb from that starting point and all the personal danger you're going to encounter. It looks heroic in hindsight. It doesn't feel heroic in the moment. It feels like you're being crushed, I imagine.
惑星軌道の数学的記述こそ一旦完成したものの、まだ自然哲学的には謎が大量にある。
That's often how that works. Speaking of feeling overwhelmed, you pick up a problem because you think it solves something important, only to find it's nearly impossible to solve, and you perhaps dedicate your whole life to it, and you solve it, only to realize it doesn't actually even really touch on the initial problem you perceived. It explains something really well at the level of the thing you're interacting with. But, like, what's the deepest why? You know, what's the deepest question? Has it gotten to that? This comes up in other shows like Pantheon, for example. But, like, let's say, for example, you were able to just perfectly one-to-one digitally map the human brain. Well, that's the brain. But what is a human? What is consciousness? Yeah, when I have this thought, this neuron activates. And when I have this thought, this neuron activates. So, okay, this neuron is this thought. What is thought? Same with pain. Pain, I think, is a really interesting fundamental thing to play with because, okay, I stub my toe and I can map the neuronal pathway from my toe to my brain and I can see pain physically manifested. What is pain? How is it possible that material can arrange itself and manifest into something that has a value scale or something like a value scale? Because pain is clearly bad, right? The meaning is very deliberately, please don't do that again. Let's just eliminate that behavior. What the hell is that? What is the substrate? What is the essence of like, that's not good, don't do that, out of materials that are in themselves not feeling? It's odd.
私は諸々の準備を済ませたら、近いうちに南西にある共和国へ行く。
Skip your preparations and please just go to the southwest.
これからは減俗して身分を偽る。もう修道士でいる必要もないしな。
I just used it for my advantage, for my
あ
research.
とは貴族や富裕層の学問好き相手に家庭教師をして、当分のつてと収入を得る。
He's really thought this through. One thing I love about his brand of religion is the idea that the church doesn't have a monopoly on God. I really love that idea. God is bigger than the church. And that's not to disparage the church at all. I just think the order, the hierarchy is important to keep in mind. Because this whole thing is an example of where that goes wrong. The church doesn't create the values of God. God's values are God's values. And the church seeks or strives to be the best touchstone for those values. But any individual human can also seek to be in accordance with those things. And the church is perfectly capable of straying from the path of God. And if the church strays from the path of God, it's no longer God. And like, forget God, that goes for a lot of things. Nobody has a monopoly on goodness. Nobody has a monopoly on truth, which is not to say that there can be multiple versions of these things or that anybody can create their own. It's just that those things are those things and there is no gatekeeper for them. There is no human that can claim to define them or make them. They are just what they are.
バデーニさんが村を出たら、俺も近々別の町へ越そうと思い
So
ま
we're all
す。
splitting up.
町へ
He wants to become a
それ
writer
から適当に仕事を見つけて、当面はお金を貯め
and then
て、
publish my own book.
将来的には大学へ行きたいと思ってます。
I love this.
気長に目指そうかと。
I really hope this comes true.
素晴らしい志だと思います。
Me too.
頑張ってください。
This is like one of the first times doing these videos. I'm in support of somebody going to school just because it's so like counter for Oxy. And I think actually it demonstrates such real growth and deliberateness. I mean, it's the opposite of what I usually oppose about school, about how it's just like the thoughtless option. Because obviously everyone knows school is great for everyone who goes. I think maybe I'm just a contrarian.
自分の名前でちゃんと論文を発表してみたいです。
Speaking of risks,
私がそういう前例を作れたら更新も生まれやすいというか。
this is no small task.
昔、組合の先輩が言ってたんです。夢を持つのはいいって。
Wow. Full circle.
今なら、
Here we are. We have
そ
them.
の言葉
Yeah.
の意味がわかる気がします。
We actually are believing in the beauty of the world in which we live, and we're not looking forward to some promised afterlife.
とりあえず1週間くらいは悲劇に耐えられる気がします。
Oh no.
これは確かに
Things are
貴重なことで
too
すね。
happy, too great for comfort. And here they come. Run.
奥地さんが書いてる本って今どうなっている
Oh,
んですか
that's the thread. That's the link. Oh no, it was him? That's the book that dude found. He went to the library and it was closed, and the book was there on the path, and he reported it. Out of spite, maybe? But after those nice thoughts he had about Boldeni also has his contribution. You dropped your book? That was horribly careless and actually speaks to
それが
Boldeni's
ちょっ
fears.
と前に大体は完成したんですけど。
本当ですか
Except I
ぜひ読んでみ
lost
たい
it
です
in the most inconvenient location. Or maybe Boldeni dropped it.
いやー、ヨレンタ。
なん
Yeah, this is where we're supposed to be surprised. There's supposed to be a twist.
せっかくだから驚かせようと思って
Yeah.
職場の人にお前
Yeah,
の居
Oxy
場所を
knows.
尋ねたんだよ
Oxy knows immediately.
そうだったんですね。
Maybe kicks her under the table. She has no idea.
紹介します。
Shocker! Never knew. Had no idea. His voice is too distinct.
ヨレンタの父のノバクと申します
We know. I know.
失礼座っても
ええ、どうぞ。
And yeah, he also has no idea. Oxy has no way of communicating this.
何をされてる方なんですか？
Inquisitor.
まあちょっとした生殖関係のお手伝いよ
True.
こうやっていつも細かいことは教えてくれないんです。
He did say he never told her. This is all set up for the twist that we already knew.
神様に関わる立派なお仕事なのでは。
まあいろいろあるのさ
I broke a woman's thumbs today.
ところでお二人は娘とどういった関係で
Wait, I'm actually confused. I mean, it's Novak, and he's very casual about these sort of interactions, so it feels like he knows. This is his usual MO, but I mean, like, he also seemed to be aware that Yolenta was here, and I don't know. It's confusing.
あまり飲みすぎちゃいけませんね
それと、私的に天文
He
や
doesn't
先
seem
生
as
術の
into
研究もしてます。
beer. You don't
研究
want to do that.
娘さんとは
Oh
ちょっと
no.
前
Oh no.
街の情報交換掲示板で出会ったんです。
Oh, you are blowing it right now. You need to kick him under the table, Oxy.
いや素晴らしいな、感心してちょっと黙っちゃいました
Right.
生殖に勤めていながらさらに研究とはなんて熱心
This reminds me of that scene in Inglourious Bastards, where somebody makes a bad move that clues everyone into the danger of the situation, except for the person who made the bad move.
私も娘さんの勤勉さにはかないません。とても聡明で理知的な方だ。
True, but shut up.
褒められたんだからいいじゃないか
I feel like Novak wouldn't care that his daughter's a heretic. It's not about the heresy for him. Okay, now would be the chance to be forthcoming. You have no idea who that was. That is the face of our potential murderer for now. You should flee. You gotta get out.
さっきから様子がおかしいぞ。
And you didn't take the
背
hint at
の
all.
やつ特有の気候か
Sure, yes. If you call fear of death common.
ちょっと前にヨレンタさん
Right.
の
Oh, yeah, he was wearing a
父親
mask.
に会ってて
I bet he still knows, though. I mean, how would he not? He was part of the same organization.
ちょっといいか
Yeah,
な
yeah, he knew the whole time. He got his daughter out of there. He'll cover for her. No one will ever know of her involvement.
どうも
He's so good at this. He's so good at, like, breaking the tension deliberately.
実は私異端審問官やってまして
Yeah. Man, there were ways, like, we could have taken a bathroom break. There's ways to bro signal when you're drinking. I don't know if Oxy's gonna make it to university. Actually, with his second main character in a row to not make it to school, university just a curse. The moral of the story, don't go to college. Man, for an episode with quote-unquote no action, this was thrilling start to finish. The incident with the kids is hair-raising. Not even in like a hyperbolic way. I feel like there's something very terrifyingly real about it. It's just human. And I think it's an important addition because it's just easy to fall into that trap of like, well, not me. You know, it wouldn't be me. But starting from last episode with the bishop laying out a case is actually pretty compelling. And like also showing how evil will not wear the mask of evil, right? It'll wear the mask of goodness. And how just like that initial agreement, that initial decision to suspend the thought and the reason for those emotions, which initially are good emotion. It's desire to help and be of service and be valuable. Perfectly normal things like wanting to have esteem, wanting to find your place in the world, only for that actually to be commandeered and steered in a way that, it, you know, as a viewer is so clearly terrible, but putting ourselves in those shoes is sort of understandable. If you would put your faith this far in the system and then someone high in that system is telling you to do something and telling you it's for those good things you always believed in, well, yeah, like some people will succumb to that naturally. But despite all of their judgment that they've always had about people who've done terrible things, you know, how easy it was to criticize other people for their actions, only just with the smallest and most earnest of mistakes to end up in a very similar situation. That's also, I think, just like real life, true to us, true to humanity forever, the importance of truth, because I think in a way that's the antidote. Because it seems like it's when that sort of sentiment, that sort of momentum reaches a tipping point in society that it kind of cascades into calamity. So even though we can't fully control the tide alone, it's important to like at least do our part, that we are not contributing to it. We're not adding to a mass that can turn into a tipping point, and to sort of like question everything and to just be tempered with emotions, to not easily give up our agency to those that would seek to make us emotional for their causes, to be balanced of spirit and to seek virtue that is higher than the status quo, truth that is higher than what we're told, God that is higher than the church, wisdom that is greater than our moment, and so many other things. Followed by, finally, what we all knew was coming, but I had sort of gotten too comfortable with, the inevitable appearance of Novak, the one character who transcends the ages. This seems like it's the climax of the Oxy arc.